So hey guys, welcome to the channel CodeChef. If you want to learn competitive programming and get a good hold on data structures and algorithms, this is the right platform for you. Every week there are several videos which will enhance your skills in competitive programming and DSA, and various videos for the CodeChef contest problems, right? So if you're new to the channel, then do subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification. Myself Chirayu Jain, I'm a CodeChef educator, and in the series of dynamic programming, today we are targeting the target sum problem. Okay guys, so today we are dealing with a problem naming target sum, right? So this is the problem name, and let's start off with the problem description, right? So basically what we have been given is, we have been given a list of non-negative integers a1 till an, right? And a target s. We have two symbols, that is plus and minus. For each integer, you should choose one from plus and minus as its new symbol, right? For each and every integer, we need to assign one symbol. Find out how many ways to assign symbols to make the sum of integers equal to the target, right? So we need to find how many different number of ways, are there for which we can assign each integer with a number which is non-negative integer, right? With a symbol. So that we can make a sum equal to s, right? So let's try to understand with the help of an example. So let's see that if we have these numbers, right, let's make it all one, right? Make it all one, and we need to achieve a target sum 3. How we can achieve, right? So let's say that if we assign plus to all the numbers, right? If we assign plus to all the numbers, then what is the sum that we are getting is, that is 5. This we cannot do. Let us say that if we assign one number with a sign that is minus, right? So let's say that if we assign this as minus, so this negative one and positive one will make the sum 0, and then it will make the sum 3. The remaining sum will be 3, right? So this is one possible way. So like this, we need to count total number of ways in which we can make the sum as 3. So another possible way could be that if we make plus here, then minus here, and then again plus over here, it will sum up to 3. Plus 1, minus 1, plus 1, plus 1, again sum up to 3. Plus 1, minus 1, plus 1, again sum up to 3. Plus 1, plus 1, minus 1, again sum up to 3, right? So if we see, we have these 5 ways, right? So this is what the question is demanding, that how many total number of ways are there in which we can assign each and every non-negative integer with a symbol, and the sum gives us the target sum that we wanted, right? So it is not necessary every time we'll be having only like similar numbers. It is just an example to explain you, we'll be having different numbers as well. So we need to see how we can approach this particular thing, right? We need to form some observations, and then as usual, when we are solving the dynamic programming problems, first the observations, then the recursive methodology, and after that we need to find the iterative thing and how we can quickly do it, right? So this is more or less the problem statement. Now let's see what observations we can draw from the problem. Okay guys, so now let us start with the understanding of the naive approach. We'll use some animations like of stuff to get through this, right? So let us take the same example and see that what we can do, right? So we have two things. Either we can add that particular number using plus sign, or we can use the minus sign, the negative sign, to get it subtracted from the total sum, right? So there are two things, right? Well, one set of numbers will be incrementing the total sum, incrementing the present sum to reach the total sum, and other will be decrementing it, right? Or they can be either of the case, right? So we have two possibilities. If we are starting from 0, we have no sum as of now, and we are adding or subtracting a number. So we have two possibilities. Either we can add the first number, or we can subtract the first number, right? So if we see here that from 0, if we add the first number, we will be reaching a state of plus 1, and if we subtract a number, we will be reaching a state of minus 1, right? So this is the first case where I equal to 0 means the indexing that we are referring to for each and every number that we have, right? So if we move to the second portion, then what will happen is that for the second portion also we have the following possibilities. Either we can add that second number, or we can subtract that second number. Similarly here as well, we can add that second number and we can subtract second number. So we'll have the following outcomes in that particular case. Similarly, for the third level also, if you see here, we can add the third number, subtract the third number. Here if you can see, we have reached our sum, that is 3, right? We have reached our sum, that is 3, but there are following more possibilities here. We cannot say that using all the numbers we have reached the sum here, right? At the last only we'll be able to determine that, okay, at this level we are getting the sum 3 for these many outcomes, right? So at each and every level you can see that there is possibility that we can either add that particular number, the ith number, or we can subtract that particular ith number to reach a certain sum value, right? So for the recursive solution, what we can see is here that let's make a function that is count number of ways, right? Count ways, and in that we are passing the total number array that we have. We are passing the sum, right? We are passing a variable t which will calculate the total that we have as of now, and the I, which denotes the indices of this nums array, right? What are the values that it has, right? So let's understand this recursive call that is happening, right? So count ways, what we're trying to do is, first thing, we are from the present sum that we have, t, the current sum, the current total that we have, first of all we are subtracting the number of the ith position, right? And then incrementing the index, right? We have subtracted that from that number. Only two possibilities we have, right? The second way is we can add that particular number to the total sum that we have and increment. These only possibilities we have as of now. And what will be the base condition over here when it will stop is that if the value of I is equals to nums of size, right? We have reached the end of the array, and the value of t, the current total that we're calculating, is equal to the sum, right? So if this condition is true, then only we'll increment the count. The count is the global variable that we have, right? So if the current sum that we are calculating is equal to the total sum that we require, the target sum, then only we can increment the count. For only those possible cases, our answer will increment, right? The count will increment, and at last we can return the code. So this is the basic approach that we can look on to. The basic things, simple observation, first look at the problem, and then we can draw the following conclusion and can derive to this particular recursive approach, right? But this is not the optimal solution, right? Because we are making the calls, if you see, if for each and every ith level we are making some calls, and it will raise our time complexity at exponential level, right? Because there are many overlapping subproblems. If you see here, right, this -1 is formed, it is repetitive again and again, right? This -1 plus 1 is also formed, right? So there are many overlapping subproblems which are formed over here, right? So we need to reduce those overlapping subproblems, store some result, and then just call that result again and again, and then we can optimize this stuff, right? So this is the first approach that we can think of, that we can work on. Now let us look at the more optimized approach for this particular problem. Okay guys, so now let us try to understand the more optimal solution, right? So we have seen that we have two possibilities, right? Starting from the 0, right? Either it can add the first number or it can subtract the first number. Here in this case, the 1 is the first number for the same example that we have taken. So these are the following outcomes, right? And similarly, for the second level also, we have for the 1 as the second number, so we can add it or subtract it to both of these outcomes, right? So this will follow. What thing we can conclude here is that these are the things which are coming. Let's say that at this particular level, if we have two numbers, right, if we have two non-negative numbers and we have to reach 0, so at this level, what are the following frequencies that we have for 0 is these two, right? And from these two will be the following outcomes. If we had two numbers, right? If we have two numbers, these two will be the following outcomes only, right? So we had two possible ways. Similarly, if we see one step below, then if we had three numbers, then these are the following outcomes, right? These are the outcomes. So these are repetitive, right? If you see here, this 0 has same structure of this subtree, right? This subtree and this subtree are matching, so it has the same substructure. So what we can do with this information is we can take the count of these values and store it so that they can be used for the future, right? So how we can do this? Let's say that for this, we have seen that we have 0 twice, right? We have 0 twice, so we can make the below numbers, right? So if we have 1 at this particular level, so what we can try to do is we can try to add the frequency that we have calculated as of now to these next numbers. So the frequency that I had for 0 is 1 over here and 1 over here, right? So now what will happen is the overall frequency of 0 becomes 2, because the below levels are same, and then it will lead to the same sub problem again, right? And the frequency of 1 will become 3 times. Why? Because if we see here, from this part I am getting 1 as a result, from this part I am getting 1 as a result plus 1, right? And from this part also I am getting a plus 1 as a result, right? So from the previous level I am able to get, okay, these are the things, these are the plus ones which I am able to get. So what will be the frequency for these plus 1? That is 3 for this level. Similarly for -1 also we have these 3 frequency which we are deriving from the previous state, right? That is I minus 1th state we are deriving, that okay, from this level I can reach -1, this level I can reach -1, and this level I can reach -1. So we are tracking a count of frequency of the sum that we are able to get for the ith value that we are taking from the array. That's what the trick here is. We need to get the frequency of the sum that can be reached from every ith possible iteration that determines the value of the state. So what are the states here? We can see the state as a representation of variables that we have in dynamic programming, right? So I represent the ith number that we are taking, and the sum represents that what sum we are calculating from it. So what we will do is, in the dp of I comma sum, we'll try to get the occurrence of the sum until that index I represents the index, the value of the number which we are taking, right? So this is called states that we are making. So now let's look at the solution for it. Let's try to understand the solution, and if not, then we'll try to make one example to get it more clear for you, right? So this is the same methodology for getting the target sums, and we are getting the vector for the nums and the sum that we need to calculate, right? So in the constraints that we have as of now, right, so the target sum is ranging between -1000 to +1000, right? So this is the constraint that we have in the problem. -1000 to +1000 is the constraint. So what I tried, because this target sum can be negative as well, it is not necessary that the target sum that we are targeting is always positive, so it can be negative as well. So what I am trying to make, I am trying to make a limit sum as 2001. This is my limit sum, right? This is my limit sum. Till here I need to calculate it, and I'm making the origin, the major point, right? The if we look at the number array, so the 0th position I'm making it at 1000, because below 1000 everyone will be negative, every sum will be negative, and above 1000 every sum will be positive. So 1001 represents a sum of +1, right? So this is what I'm trying to do, because why? The reason is I am having the negative sums as well, right? So for the negative sums we need to store it somewhere. So that's why I made the vector like this. So now I am making a 2D vector. I am making a 2D vector of size n+1 and limit sum as the number of columns that I have, and I'm initializing everything with 0 as of now. Now if I mark the origin, so what will be the value at the origin? That is 1, right? That is single 1, because I have one occurrence at the origin, making the target sum as 0, right? At the origin, making the target sum as 0. How many possible ways that I have, how many combinations I can put, right? That is only 1, right? That is only 1. So I am making it as a default, because in the dynamic programming solution we need to have at the granular level a single value that is calculated, right? So this is 1. There is only one single possibility of making the target sum as 0, right? Now from I equals to 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus, right? For this, for each and every number, right, in the number list that we have, in the vector that we have, nums, right? What I'm trying to do is I'm calculating the limit sum till the limit sum that I have, right? From t equals to 0, t less than limit sum. So what is the value of limit sum that I have? That is 2001. So less than 2001 t plus plus, right, starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, right. So what I'm trying to do is, if dp of I minus 1 and t, the prior level, is greater than 0, right, if it is if it is 0, then it is already filled, right, it is 0. But if it is greater than 0, that means one frequency is there, right. Then what we will do, we'll forward that frequency into this two parts, that is, either we can subtract that number or we can add that number, but the frequency will follow up in the later part, right. So what I'll try to do is dp of I comma dp of t plus nums of I minus 1. If I'm subtracting that, because it is 0 based indexing, right, so I am using I minus 1 over here, right. So nums of I minus 1, I am at this particular dp state, what I'm trying to do, I am trying to add the frequency of I minus 1th state, right. And similarly, if I subtract that number from the current sum that we have, I'll add the same frequency again, so that we can have a note of frequency at each level. Okay, this sum is repeating how many times, this sum is repeating how many times, right. So I'll add those frequency there, and at last what I'll try to do, the target sum that I have, I'll return that plus the origin. If it is negative, then it will go below origin, and if it is positive, it will go above origin, right. So this is what I'm trying to do. If you are not clear with this, don't worry, just let's have a moment to get this with the help of an example, right. So at this particular level, right, this is at this particular base, I'm trying to store value 1, which is at the origin, right, and I'm making this for the understanding purpose, I'm making it till 10, right. It will vary till 1000, negative 1000 to positive 1000, but I'll make it till 10 to understand more clearly, right. Now what I'll do is I'll try to have the nums of I, right. The nums of I will denote a value that is 1, right. I'll try to have the frequency of this origin, which is as of now 0, and the frequency is 1, to carry forward it to the value which I'm subtracting and adding to this number, right. So what I'm subtracting and adding, that is 1. Basically, if we take the same example, so at minus 1 and plus 1, I'll have the same frequencies as 1, 1, if you see here, right. So that is what I'm trying to do. This is what this calculating the frequency. So if I subtract minus 1, or if I add plus 1, so for these values of sum, we'll have one possible outcome, right. And what if I want to know the frequency of 0 if I have two numbers? So that is what the next thing states, right. So I'll again subtract nums at index 1 and nums at index 2 for these particular cases, and what I have, I'll carry forward the frequencies that I have. So for this, the frequency will become 1, for this the frequency will become 1, and for this the frequency will become 2, right. I'm adding the frequencies over here, if you see, right. So I'll add the frequency which I've calculated here to these numbers, and it will become 2, right. So this is how we need to calculate the frequency at each level, and then we'll be able to find out that, okay, at this level, if we have taken all the numbers into consideration and we want to find the sum, so for the particular sum, how many times it is repeating right from the starting, right, and it will add at that particular part. So this is what the problem statement, this is what the clear solution, the DP solution for this problem looks like, right. So we have seen the recursive approach as well, and then after that, how we can formulate, how we can just understand the iterative approach and just formulate the states in the DP.